Hey, how are you going? I can't believe it's April already. It's crazy. So I just wanted to do a follow up on my post last night about people just feeling like they're struggling at the moment. And what was interesting is I thought back, it was pretty much March last year where we kind of had the same thing, where people started having feeling the emotional effects of the change of season, but really quite early. So we've got to April this year, which is probably a good thing. But yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, just share with you what helps with me, with my depression, and just keeping myself healthy and well and looking after myself with the self-care and everything. Because yeah, I know from experience that when you're in it, it's really hard to kind of see the light. You know, there's that fog, that heaviness, the feeling of just surviving, and I guess for me too, just wanting to sleep all the time. Like I just didn't want to exist in the world. So I just wanted to remind you that you are not your thoughts. Like your thoughts are not you. It's just your brain, it's just your mind that's ticking over, and you are not your thoughts. And if that kind of sounds a bit confusing, head over to my blog. I did quite a few posts while I was going through depression, and one of them that might be helpful for you is 5 things I learned at depression counselling. So there I kind of talk about that. Yeah, that was one big realization for me. I am not my thoughts. I am like my values and what I actually want from my life. Yeah, because we have over like 60,000 thoughts a day, and what's interesting is for women especially, like I think it's like 80% of that are negative thoughts. So our brain and our mind takes over, which is ridiculous. So anyway, I wanted to share with you some things that really helped me. One of them, big time, if you have no one to talk to or feel like you have no one to talk to, I highly recommend getting a journal. I feel it's like a 24/7 counselor or therapist, because you can literally just any time of the day write in that. And I find it really cathartic getting what's going on here out onto paper. And sometimes too, when you get it out on paper, it seems ridiculous, you know, when it's playing around in your head, that's like your normal. It's just that inner dialogue, that inner chatter, and that's what you think is real. But sometimes when you get it out on paper, or if you verbalize it, you can just go, oh my gosh, that doesn't even make sense. Why am I thinking that way? That's not even relevant to me. So I highly recommend getting a journal. And another thing that I find helpful too, if it's stress and overwhelm that's getting to you and really affecting your mood, do a brain dump. So literally just get a piece of paper, and for 5 or 10 minutes, literally just dump everything out on paper, what's going on in your head. And you'll soon see that there's so many things that are out of your control, but they're taking up the energy inside your head, which could be affecting your mood. So definitely give those a go. And obviously another thing is gratitude, obviously one of those buzzwords at the moment. And again, while you're in it feeling dark and depressed, it is really hard to kind of see the good things in life. But when you're in a state of gratitude, or just really trying to think of the good things, it's really you'll find that there's a pause on some of the dark stuff that's going on for you. Now, if you really struggle finding or thinking about the good things, my beautiful friend Charlene bought me this book a while ago, and I loved it because it just made gratitude easy, right? And one of the first ones I did that really was just easy for me was start listing all of the good things in your life, and as the day goes on, add more as you think of them. How many can you come up with? Try to fill this whole page today. And I literally could fill that page easily. There was things like music. I love music. Fresh air, sunshine, ice cream, listing my friends that I was really appreciating and grateful for at the time. I even put down my counselor, because she is a light for me as well. So try that one. So just list all of the good things in your life, and see what kind of comes up for you. And again, if you need it to be super, super easy, you don't want to have to think too much about it. Another one that I quite liked was take a walk around your living space, pay attention to the things that you use almost every day, but probably otherwise would never really think about. How do they make your life easier, happier, more comfortable? So one that kind of came to my mind really quickly was the fan in my bedroom. I don't know about you, but it's still really warm at night, and if I'm too hot, I don't sleep very well. So I'm really grateful for having the fan in in the bedroom to cool me down, to help me sleep better. So just thinking of simple things like that. So those are ones that I kind of try and do every single day now, journal and have some daily gratitude, just so I can appreciate the good things in my life. And yeah, so that's probably a really good starting point. I've kind of written a whole list, which is probably going to take way too much time, so I might have to cut it down. But if you are really struggling and you feel like you've been struggling for quite some time, I would highly recommend getting to your GP. That's what I did. They'll get you to do a little test. Well, they did 2 or 3 years ago anyway, just to kind of see it, you know, kind of where you're sitting on the scale. They can also obviously point you in the direction of a counsellor or a therapist or something like that. Some people will be, I think, this was back in the time when I was going through it, subsidised programs or whatever for people who really need counselling services. Also, there's lots of helplines too, so if you find you can't get to your GP for an appointment because you're just busy with work, definitely contact one of those helplines. The people on the other end of the phone are trained to help you through what you're going through. Especially if you find that your friends and family don't understand, because I have this conversation quite often, like if you've never felt it or dealt with it, it's really hard for people to understand that intensity of feelings and the darkness and the fog and just the heaviness. Like, it's really hard for not normal people, but I hopefully that makes sense. You know, so contact someone who can help you deal with what's going on for you. When you go to the doctor too, they will kind of have a conversation with you about 3 things: sleep, exercise, and your diet. Those can be 3 contributors to obviously what's going on with your mental health. Exercise, gosh, when you're feeling poos and you don't actually want to get out in the world, it's really hard, right, to think of doing exercise. I think exercise for a lot of us means, you know, high intensity stuff, or when you're in this zone, getting out the door is a real mission. So my suggestion would be, what if you just got out and went for a 5-minute walk? And even for those who are at work, you have breaks. So get out and just go for a walk. 5 minutes. Don't push yourself. If you could get out for 5 minutes, 5 days or even 3 days this week, that would be amazing. The other benefit too is obviously it's getting darker, so there's less sunshine to get the vitamin D. Now, I'm not a scientist or anything, my knowledge is very basic, but we need the vitamin D. So again, if you're getting out for a walk, you're getting some of the vitamin D. And yeah, and use your lunch breaks wisely. I have the luxury of working from home, but for those of you who might be working in an office, you do get breaks. Get outside. Like, just, yeah, get outside. If you can find some grass, take your shoes off for 10 minutes and just put your bare feet on the grass. Just ground yourself. I think is just another great tool and technique. Or just, again, just sitting outside, eating your lunch and just getting outside, getting some fresh air. Diet. Again, I don't know about you, but I can be a really emotional eater. If I'm feeling shit, I will go to bad foods. So I guess if you can, really watch what you're putting in your mouth, because what you're putting in your mouth really will have a reflection on what's going on for you. So just try your best to stick with whole foods. Even if it's just one meal of your day, just try and fill it with good stuff, some greens, some veggies, some protein and stuff, if that's all you can kind of manage. But that's a massive one too, just really watching what you're eating. And also too, drinking. I have been a big one in the past to kind of drown myself or drown the thoughts with alcohol. So I went through phases where I drink a lot more wine in the evenings to kind of get through. Obviously alcohol is a depressant, so again it's not really going to be too helpful. So finding something else that can help you through those times as well. And for me too, if I drink alcohol to fix my sleep, and I need lots of sleep. So that was the other one, sleep. Do your best to try and get a really good night's sleep. Shut off from social media at nighttime. Seriously, it is not doing you any favors. Switch your phone off, leave it in the kitchen or the lounge when you go to bed. Really just shut off from all of that. So yeah, have a look at your bedtime routine. There's some simple things you can do is make sure that your room is dark, obviously, that it's at a good temperature, it's not too hot, not too cold. Avoid any kind of stimulants, so no devices in the bedroom, and if you need to, incorporate like a bath. I mean, we do it for our kids, right? They have their bedtime routine where it's, dinner, bath, book, that kind of thing. Do that for yourself. And one thing that I would love and suggest for you is to use essential oils too. If you're really struggling to kind of switch off the mind and relax and go to sleep, get in touch. I'd be more than happy to advise you on some essential oils that you can use. It's not too difficult, but again, it just will help to have some restful sleep. Restful sleep is really important. I had insomnia for the first time in my life, and the only time in my life when I went on to antidepressants, and so I was just a mess, right? Because I wasn't getting good sleep, so therefore I wasn't coping well with the stuff that was going on during the day. So sleep is an absolute massive one. I'm going to continue because I'm on a roll and I just want to help you guys, and if this is resonating for you, please comment below. Just say what works for you. I would love for this just to be an open conversation, and so we can just help all the people out there who are struggling. And obviously what works for me might not work for the next person, but you might have something that works for you that could help someone. So please comment below with what works for you when the season starts to get a bit darker and you feel the mood and the darkness kind of taking over. The other one that I've only really started committing to recently is meditation. Now, I know everyone's like, oh my gosh, I'm the same. How am I going to shut off this crazy mind, because it is continuous 24/7, always whirring and turning with thoughts. I've decided that meditation for me needs to become a practice. The more I practice, the better I will get. But don't forget there's different forms of meditation, right? I had a chat with a lady a couple of weeks ago. Her form of meditation is colouring in at night time. For her, she finds that when she colours in, she's focusing so hard on keeping within the lines and getting the colours right for her drawing that this switches off. So find a form of meditation that works for you. If you find that you can't sit still and sit quiet, find an activity that helps you to do so. It could be knitting, like I said, colouring in. I have lots of crystals, so it could just me sitting holding my crystal and just focusing on the crystal, looking at how pretty it is and acknowledging it or whatever it is. So find your form of meditation, whether it's a craft or literally meditation. There's some really good apps when it comes to meditation as well. Calm, Headspace. I know Gabby Bernstein, she has some really good meditations too. They're free. You can get access to those. So find what works for you, but taking the time, even if it's for 5 minutes, to just literally just sit and be calm and try and just really be present. And it could be that you just start off your practice with 2 or 3 minutes a day. Like that's literally all you can do. And then after a week, just increase. I'm at the moment sitting in complete silence. And I'm just starting with 7 minutes, and next week I will upgrade it to like 15 minutes. But that's from me doing guided meditations since the beginning of the year, but then getting to a place going, you know what, I actually probably need some quiet because my brain's always turning over, and so I know that's going to take practice for me. So if you need any resources for that, I'm happy for you to private message me, and I can definitely pass on to you what works for me, and you can give it a go. The other thing that I researched and came across, so for those of you who may not know of my story, 3 years ago I had depression, went on antidepressants. I tried 2 different types and they didn't work for me. It was a hellish time, believe me. So I had to find what worked for me, and through my research, one of the things I came across was the importance of omegas, so omega-3s and 6s. They are very good for mental health, and also magnesium. Magnesium is really good too. So look at any type of supplements that could possibly work for you. Again, kind of comes back to diet. If you know that you don't have a very good diet, that you're probably missing out on a whole lot of nutrients and stuff, consider getting really good supplements. Again, if you want to know what I use, private message me. I'm happy to let you know about those and tell you more about them. They've got a really good combination of the omegas, has the magnesium. I also learned too that if you're taking magnesium, you need to have good calcium as well, because the calcium helps your body absorb magnesium. Gosh, there's so much science behind it. So find a really good one that works for you. And again, essential oils were my savior, I believe, and I use them daily. I have a diffuser bracelet, so this morning I've just gone and chucked in bergamot and melissa, and I also use them as perfumes as well, so really for emotional support. I also diffuse in my house, so all those aromas, while they smell nice, scientifically they're helping me to just work with my mood and kind of what's going on. So if you haven't tried essential oils for supporting your mood and what's going on for you emotionally, I'm more than happy to help you with that too, because it's what works for me. And I want to see lots of more people having a more joy, happy filled life. I know that what goes on in here can totally take over, and yeah, I know coming into winter it's going to be really hard for people. So this is why I wanted to jump on today and just let's start now. Let's just start with some small things and make some small habits going in, so that we kind of just build up a buffer. So I'll just quickly go over some of the things I talked about. So I talked about journaling, brain dumping, practicing gratitude, the 3 things that a doctor will usually tell you to focus on: sleep, exercise, diet. The 4th one I would add onto there is stress. If you've got lots of stress going on in your life, take note of that and see where you can reduce stress. Again, that's where the brain dump will come in really handy. If you get all those stresses and stuff onto paper, you'll kind of see common themes, whether it's around the kids or running the household, or whether it's come down to like your work or your friends or relationships, and then you can kind of see and just get a gauge where the stress is coming from, so that you can kind of make some changes. The other one was using crystals. Crystals are one of my new things. If you want to know more, let me know. Rose quartz for like self-love, amethyst again, they're just really comforting. Just the process of having them on my body, and that is really, really working for me. Having some really good supplements when it comes to omegas and magnesium. Get outside and get some vitamin D. And what else? And essential oils. And again, if there's stuff going on for you right now and you just want to get as much knowledge, or even just look into how I dealt with things, please go to my blog. It's just reneegreenland.com. And the blog post I recommended earlier was 5 things I learned at depression counselling. Check that out. And there's other stories from other people with depression as well. I will come back and I will put some notes in the header and leave some contact numbers too. Please reach out. Go to your GP or call some of the support lines if you feel like you have no one to talk to, because you do have someone to talk to. I promise you, there is someone out there who wants to help you. So yeah, sending you really big love if you're struggling right now. Please be kind to yourself. I know self-care is another one of those buzzwords right now, but it is so important. And you are important, and you are worthy of being here with the rest of us. So please look after yourself. All right, any questions, please private message me. I'm totally happy to help and share what works for me. And yeah, happy April 2nd. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.